back to the Rom-Com Love podcast. I am so excited to have one of my favorite humans joining me, Melissa Peterman, to talk about a segment of When From the Heart, which we're talking about connections and really how special this community is. So thank you, Melissa, for joining me.
Well, I feel like I should be. I mean, I feel like you have to save your favorite guest since you run my fan club, my fan page.
Well, I will say that my when I was
By the
talking
way,
with
I
him.
know that's not true. I know you. I know that I hold a great, a nice spot in your heart, and we are real friends in real life. But I also know that there are other people from that would make your heart go a little more pitter patter than I do. But that's okay. I'll take it.
No, to be honest, because I think, and here's why. I think it's because yes, we're friends in real life, and I adore you like an older sister because I feel
Thank
like that.
you for not saying like mom or
Oh,
aunt.
you are so not my mother. You're my cool older sister.
Okay, all right, I'll take it. I'll
We're,
take it.
we're only a few years apart, so it's not even that traumatic of thing to say.
Okay.
But I think that's the thing too, is always I'm just like when you before we jump into anything, but how we connected was through Twitter.
Yeah.
And literally I just did a tweet. You were tweeting with baby daddy and like every Monday night, and there was randomly not a lot of people tweeting at that time. That was way before social media
Yeah.
was as
And
cool.
now I'm not even on it anymore. I mean, I think I still have my thing, but someone is like full disclosure, someone's hacked me. I can't even get into it anymore. I haven't used it. Like it's bananas over there. It's like I feel like it got real dicey and I haven't been on it forever, but I'm glad that before I jumped off, I met you.
Well, and so yeah, so then we like I think it was I like to say, okay,
Twin Cities Live, right? It was in
Twin
person.
Cities Life, but do you know how that really happened? Have I ever really told you the story?
No, I don't think so. I thought you were watching like well, tell me.
Okay, so I was so you had been like at one point Twin Cities Live had like a third wheel that they never
Okay.
really had somebody come in as a co-host, but every once in a while they had a third wheel. So you'd been a guest, and I remember being like, "Oh my gosh, you totally need to have her in as a host, for the third wheel segment." And then Elizabeth went on maternity leave. And I think baby daddy was wrapping up the season. So we had been tweeting, and I put a little note into Twitter. You followed it up with absolutely, I would love to co host because they were looking for co hosts for her. And
Oh,
then all of a sudden you were on board. And I was like, there we go.
and you planned it all the way to wow. Did you send Elizabeth and her husband out on a date 10 months earlier to get her pregnant so this all happened? I believe that you were the mastermind.
You know what? I'm already feeling like we hit the stalkerish level, and you're going to take back the fan club president.
No, never, 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 never.
But yeah, and then the funniest thing was my sister-in-law absolutely loves Steve Patterson. So I didn't oh, he's hysterical.
He is, I'm sorry, I just stopped. I just have to say, because I think Steve Patterson is one of those, he is so good at what he does, and
Mm-hmm.
it looks easy. It is not. He is engaged, present, funny. I, I listen to him on My Talk from LA. I listen to My Talk all the time because I'm friends. I love them all, and it's a
Mm-hmm.
connection. Speaking of connections, it's a connection to home for me. But I just think he is so good. He's so good. Anyway.
No, I was sad to see him leave our little market. Besides, I know that he's moved on to talk radio, but for me, like to see him soar, and I'm surprised he hadn't soared to the level that he has before. Every time you see him on Kelly and Mark, you're just so excited for him and everything else he's got to do.
Yeah, he's fantastic. So sorry,
So
your sister-in-law loves Steve Patterson.
So she happened to be watching. So I think I sent a little message to KTSTP or KSTP at that point and just said, "Oh, when they announced that you were going to co-host, and they only had live audiences on Fridays."
Right.
So then I was like, "Is there any chance you would do a live audience kind of at the days that she's there? Because that'd be fun." All of a sudden, they answered that question live on air. And my sister-in-law messages me and she goes, "So are you going? Did you hear your question?" And I'm like, "Nope." So I like to say I'm a connector, but not stalkerish connector.
No, but I mean, let's just say like it's everything goes back to you. Like you made it happen. So thanks.
Uh,
I loved my time on Twin Cities Live. It's such a great, like, I mean, I always would say my, not plan B, but if I ever to move back here, I could be so happy doing stuff here. And there's so many great people. And yeah, anyway.
Well, you need your own television show just in general in that aspect. And absolutely, when you come back, I think you easily could roll in along with our other fit great hosts here in Minnesota. So, well, before we dive into the real questions, so you are home
I'm
and
home.
you get a little break before you start Happy's Place season 3.
Yes, I'm very excited to get back to work, but we've had a nice little break. And of course, I had big plans for all the things I was going to accomplish on this break. I have not accomplished as much as I thought, but that's okay. I'm going to be okay with that.
Well, that's because you accomplished the connections, and that's what's the most important part.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
So, when you come to Minnesota, what is the first thing you have to do? And then, how is Elvis enjoying his time here?
Elvis is in heaven. Right now he's sleeping because I feel like he has been so, his senses are on fire. He's an English
Hmm.
setter, so he's sort of a bird dog and like nature. And he's been down to the river he's been to the dog park there. He's been to the under the High Bridge dog park, the airport dog park. But Minnesota right now, especially our front yard, is overrun with there's bunnies. There is
Mm.
turkeys wandering around the streets of St. Paul, like gangs of turkeys. So this dog. He is on high alert and he has been having so much fun. He has been sleeping like he's just having the best time. It's
It's
like
it's the Minnesota fresh air and the lake effect that's coming from all the 10,000 plus lakes.
it is. I just feel like I mean I when I brought him to the first dog park, the Minnehaha, and which is just like the river and the forest. I swear I have a picture which I don't know if you put it. You guys you somebody's put a picture up, right? If I sent picture.
Yes. Yeah.
I have a picture of him just staring at this glorious, beautiful Minnesota woods, and he's just like, "We're gonna need a bigger leash," or like, it was like Jaws, like, "We're gonna need a bigger boat." Like his dog excitement level was, it was as, like I feel like animals are such a special way to connect. Again,
Hmm.
but like they're gifts from God to me. Like this dog was a gift from God that like I needed him.
Hmm.
Riley was going to school. I had lost Fern. We had another dog that was getting old, and somehow you just find a dog that is your heart. And so watching him have so much joy has just
Hmm.
been joyful for me to watch him just like and love Minnesota. I was like,
Yeah.
I know you're an LA dog, Elvis, but you're Minnesota. Never forget it.
There is always officially going to be a part of Minnesota, even though you got him from the East Coast. So he's just working his way through the states.
He's working his way through the states. You're right. He was North Carolina born. So
Yeah. So what is the first thing that you need to do? Like, is there a place you have to go, or is it just immediately going to say hi to the parents? What do you do when you first come
I
home?
think first thing is sort of just, I always feel like I just have I love my house here. So I just feel like we've been coming here since before Riley was born. We
Mm-hmm.
got this place when I was pregnant. So, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just a place that has every memory. So it's just being here feels great. I walk around and look at everything and go, and all the pictures and photos we have here and call parents, let them know we're here.
Mm-hmm.
Usually John likes to go up to Kowalski's, get some get some food, get some whatever. But yeah, just to be home, it just feels like, I just feel like my shoulders kind of just relax a little when I
Yeah.
get here. And yeah, and this house, like I, you know, I it's so comfy. It's like it's just comfortable, but it is because this is a place where we have all the holidays. So there's just so much stuff here. And it's
Mm,
kind of like every time I walk around, I can just look at every picture of Riley is here. So I just kind of
yeah.
I roam around for a minute and then unpack and call everybody. But I mean, my favorite place is and is definitely like we love our Kowalskis. We do. We love that. Um, but yeah, just to be home, walk around, see my parents.
We used to have a Kowalski's and it turned into an Amazon shipping store that never actually opened. So I'm still so number one, it's just bummer of dead space that could definitely have lots of potential. And then two, I really miss the deli. I'm still mad.
They are such a great, it's a fabulous, like, I mean, for people who are not in Minnesota, just imagine like a great local grocery store that has like really quality stuff and then some really unique stuff and everything is delicious. Like I bought my dad's birthday or Father's Day cake from there and it's like heaven, anyway.
Yeah, my sister recently asked, I think we needed a cake for something, and she sent me a picture. Oh, I think it was Whole Foods actually. It had the center of like this Bavarian cream that you really don't see it, like if you're going to go to Cub or anything like that.
Right.
And
Hey,
she's
don't get
like,
me
"Do you?"
wrong. I'll eat a good old grocery store cake with some thick icing on it. I am not mad at any cake. Let's be
Oh,
clear.
I agree with you on that one too. But there's just something about it that when you get something, it's like Byerly's used to be the thing,
Yeah.
and then Kowalski's took over.
Yeah,
So.
absolutely.
Well, I wanted to invite you on to talk about this topic for many reasons, mainly because I've always been so inspired about your heart. You give so much of yourself, and I know you get so much in return when you're doing it. But my running joke with you is always, when do you sleep?
I feel like it's like that times I don't know if I'm more, I mean, I don't feel like a bear, like a hibernate, but I feel like I'm one of those people that can be really, really busy for like spurts, and some of those spurts are long and some are short. The minute I have a moment, I am so good, and you probably know this. I will be off social media. I will shut
Mm-hmm.
it down. I will be happy to like not be communicating, and I can putter. I'm really good at being alone. And I say that
Mm-hmm.
I'm also good, like, that means also like I like to be with my family and John and my dog and stuff, but I'm really good shutting it down. So I can be like I had a long little stretch before I got here.
Mm-hmm.
I went and did a wonderful charity thing with at in Kansas City, which is the Big Slick. I had that. I had a little gig in Atlanta. So I was really, really busy, and then I got on the road and drove here, and now I'm done. So it's like I feel like I'm good at, I don't know if I'm good at managing, but it comes and goes in spurts. But the minute I'm down, I'm really good at taking advantage of that. Like I will just
Mm-hmm.
go like, yep, I'm not going to be I'm not going to be really accessible for a minute, and I'm okay with that. I'm getting better at it, you know?
Yeah. Well, I feel the older I'm getting, I take cues on that too, where it's just like if you feel like you miss out on something, and then I think what we're missing out on is like what's in front of us, and we
Yeah.
forget how important that is. And of course, as we talked before we started, like with the loss of my dad and stuff like that, which you're aware of, that it's just like for me, those moments help you slow down in so many different ways. I'm so thankful for the connections, but you need to
And social
regenerate.
media, like Catherine, like we said, we met through that. And I think social media and all the ways we have beyond that we used to connect are wonderful. I also
Mhm.
think they can be like anything can be a drain as well. And it's okay to like be off it. I mean, sometimes I think I should post more. I should get more engaged because I really enjoy it. I've met genuine things and I get genuine
Mhm.
joy from it. It's also can be there also can be a dark side too, and I'm really good at blocking that too. It's like,
Mhm.
I've always said there's a million ways people can there's a million places that people can be awful to other people, but not on my watch, not in my if it's my Instagram or my stuff, I'm like, just
Mhm.
bye. Bye-bye. Don't need to.
Yeah.
You can go do that anywhere else. But so I think it's okay, and well, whatever. I don't know where we were talking, but it's okay to like not be on it for a minute and
Yeah.
like have a game night or just like slowly or to be quiet. Like I think we get to a point sometimes where you're like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Just lying here on the
Mhm.
couch with snuggling with the dog or, and doing nothing or even reading. Like I was feeling
Yeah.
guilty about reading a book, because I wasn't actively and that's sort of something that's new, I think, in the last, decades of like having something like maybe you feel productive with the phone in your hand, but you're like, I wasn't really accomplishing anything. But I don't know. I remember I was sitting on my porch and just like in LA and I was at book club. So I was
Mhm.
reading almost a whole book and I was like feeling a little bad about that I hadn't responded. Like it's like, you know what? I can't feel guilty reading a book.
I have to say, well, no, that's what I just love speaking from the heart about it too. And actually, I just did one not last week with my friend when we were talking about a very sensitive topic, and she goes, "I think you asked me one question, and then the rest of it was you needed therapy." And I said, I am happy to share my heart. I don't know who wants to hear it. So we put that one on the cutting room floor right
You
now.
did? I think you should just put it out there as is. You never know what the kind of those conversations might touch somebody, you know?
That is very true. I told her, I said, we'll have a take two where I just need a few notes. Notes help me a little bit more than
Okay.
winging it.
Not with
I
me,
think,
because I can go on tangents.
well, I think the thing for me is if I don't have notes in front of me or guiding posts, then I'm kind of like, I try to remember everything in my brain, and then you either speak too fast or you're just, or you don't pause because you're like, and then this, and then this. And so
Right.
there's that. So, but I'm all about a tangent. That's the fun part about all of
Good.
this.
Okay.
But yeah, so for sure, what I wanted to highlight was your weekend in Kansas City, because it looked like a blast. And I actually had the chance to talk with Kat right before you guys went.
McNamara, is it
Yeah,
that was it? Yeah. I think so, right?
McNamara. I think
She's
so. We'll go
lovely.
at
She's
it.
absolutely a delight and has been doing it for I think I maybe she's been doing it for a long time. Um
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so go ahead, ask what do you want to
Oh
say?
no,
I'm
I was
still
just curious.
processing it really.
Yeah, I mean, I would just love to hear about it because I also feel like because so many of our rom-com community fans are getting really inspired and knowing Kansas City because we're going there each year to
Right.
celebrate Christmas. I think that I could definitely see a connection down the line, and so I'd love to hear about the charity.
Well, it was Children's Mercy, the big hospital in Kansas City, and I was invited because of Eric Stone Street. Eric Stone Street, wonderful actor, you know him from
Mm-hmm.
Modern Family, and he was a guest star in Happy's Place, and we, we had actually met years ago in LA when we were first in LA, but never really got to work together till then. Anyway, he asked me because he's one of the main hosts of that night. I think it was Paul Rudd, Jason Sudeikis, Heidi Gardner, Dave Keckner, and who's the other one? Why am I? They're all amazing. It's all giant people that you love.
Who
And
was?
Eric Stone
Did you
Street,
mention the? Did you mention the really really tall guy?
Dave Keckner.
Oh yeah, okay, then he did.
Who's hilarious and wonderful. And also I knew him in when he was in Sketch World in LA, and he's brilliant. So it was really born, I think it was Paul and Dave. I'm trying to remember the whole origin story, but they're from Kansas City.
Mm,
And it was a way for them, and it started as a poker game. This may be long-winded, and you might want to go to the website to verify all of it because I honestly did a deep dive before I went there, and certainly after because I was inspired.
mhm,
And basically, it's their friends and families that helped them grow it, and now they have raised over I don't know how many millions of dollars for children's pediatric cancer and for Children's Mercy Hospital in Kansas City. And, children's cancer, unfortunately, is one that we've already been slashing things, as you know, things have been
mhm,
slashed everywhere. But children's pediatric cancer has always been the first to get slashed, the last to get funded, and heartbreaking. And this hospital, so they throw this event every year, the Kansas City Royals. Usually there's a baseball game,
mhm.
and they put on this big show, and you've got Paul Rudd, you've got Jason Sudeikis, again Heidi Gardner and Dave and Eric Stone Street, these giant stars who just simply love their hometown and they love this hospital. And what I loved about it too, and I learned about it, was that it doesn't have, no one's getting paid. There's not this big board of directors that is like getting paid to run this charity. It's Paul Rudd's mom. It's Jason's
Mm.
mom. It's their sisters, Eric's sister. It's like, I think Jason Sudeikis's mom does the travel for everybody. You know what I mean? Like it is a grassroots ground, like it's for people who love their city. They love this hospital. This hospital is phenomenal and the care that they give. And yes, we get to there's a big show that happens and they have a baseball game. This year there was no baseball game. But for me, the best part of it is going to the hospital and meeting these families and these kids
Mhm.
and these nurses, these doctors, and I'm gonna cry. I will. It's just lovely. And so that part was amazing. And then I talked to Eric probably every couple days, and Eric Stone Street and his beautiful wife, Lindsay, who they met at this hospital when she was a nurse. They're there, like I'm checking in, and they don't just go and visit the weekend of the event, Eric is there. They're
Mhm.
all involved actively there. This is their hometown. And anyway, we raised a ton of money. I think it was over $4 million that weekend, and I will go and do whatever they want. I don't, I would, I'll valet park. I don't know what they want me to do, but and my hope is that, and also I found like a wonderful magical place about Kansas City, and I feel that way about Minnesota too, as people know that when you love your hometown and there's a genuine connection there, your ability to like, get your friends and family motivated.
Mhm.
Like it inspired me. I'm like, what can I do in Minnesota? Like, there's so many great places here. There's Children's Hospital here, which my friend Eric
Mhm.
does an amazing thing there. He does Star Studio with putting on shows for kids. I'm like, there's something about it being your hometown and getting your friends and family and your team involved, your friends,
Mhm.
your connections to make it work. Like that's what I loved about it. Like these and also I think it's been 17 years and you could tell that the actors and it was actors and like performers. I don't know if you've ever heard of Stephen Wilson Jr. If you haven't, Catherine, he's an amazing
No.
musician. But you got Johnny Knoxville there. You've got all these people that just show up and they didn't even they were there because they wanted to be there and they come every
Mhm.
year. They show up, they do it, and I don't know. I just it was the best part about it was going to the hospital and meeting the kids. And I met Piper and Cooper and Mickey, this amazing artist who his artwork is incredible. Like, and then, you look at the families and you think about just the luxury of health. You know what I mean? I think we
Yep.
all assume that, we all that people walk around with these invisible things of like and it can be like that you had a great dad and not everyone had a great dad but not everyone has health or healthy children, healthy family members. Like there's just it's a luxury for a lot of people to have what a lot of people take for granted. And I think about the siblings of children too, like when you have a sick kid in the
Mhm.
family, the entire family is sort of they're fighting that battle too. So anyway,
Yeah.
it was phenomenal. I texted Reba and Rex too, I think, because they we auctioned off to raise money to come people to come to see Happy's Place and people bid on it, which
Oh,
I was so excited because I was like, they got Paul Rudd, auctioning off a visit to Marvel. I'm like, are people going to come to? They were so generous. We have a couple, I think three couples that paid money. A lot of some, I think we raised like 20 like 60 some $65,000
wow.
for them, which I was so proud of. And so Reba and Rex had made a video and I had texted them. I said, we go to a lot of these events and we are lucky enough to be invited or to like be involved, just whether they're events or not. But I said this one was just felt so it just felt really special because it was friends and family that just like, you know what?
Mhm.
We're going to put on a show and we're going to make money for this hospital. And I ate a lot of barbecue.
I
I
don't
ate a
think the
lot of
less,
barbecue. And
I
I love
honestly,
so my hope is for when I come for Hallmark, which is another reason I fell in love with Kansas City was
mhm.
I'm the first weekend up for because of my schedule. So I'm the first weekend for the Hallmark Christmas experience. I want to extend it because I do have a week off. I think I have that week off for hiatus. So I want to stay either a couple days after so I can go visit the kids back at the hospital or whatever they need me to do because that was really special for me. And I was like, you're not going to get rid of me. I'm in. I'm in.
And I don't think that they want to. And I'm on your team for whenever you work on something for Minnesota. And
I know you are. I know.
yeah.
And I feel like there's something to be said because I just thought there was something so cool about that model. And by the way, I know the toll it takes on their families and their because it was college friends, sisters, brothers,
Mhm.
moms, dads, that were all there. When I couldn't believe it, like that Jason's mom is like the one that's doing travel, and Paul Rudd's mom was there, making sure she was talking to people. Like it was just inspiring to see that, so it was very special. It didn't feel like it felt different than some things I'd been to where um,
Mhm.
the event felt bigger than the cause sometimes. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. And besides your friend at Children's, and I'm sure you've met a lot of people through because that is like one of your first stops or one of your stops that you try to make every, at least once a year when you're in town
I
to
try to go
visit.
visit the dude at Star Studio at Children's Hospital. It's Minnesota Children's. What do they call it here? There's always
Uh, oh, Julie's gonna hurt me.
I
I mean,
know
it's
Children's
Children's.
Minnesota, right?
Is it Children's Minnesota? I'll ask her.
But if I can stop by and play bingo with the dude and visit, I try to do that every time because,
Yeah.
it's just it's fabulous. And I got to go to a puppy party, which when you bring puppies to visit, that's my jam.
I
So,
well, so our Julie with Suspenders Unbuttoned, she's a critical care pharmacist there at the St. Paul. Well, actually, she does both, but her main hub is St. Paul.
okay.
And so I my niece had to go for she thankfully and blessed that she only needed to stay one night, but she didn't want to come home because of how fun it was and how much of a vacation it felt for her, even though she was in the hospital. And so of course I've always admired, and same with you, where you just count your blessings until that moment happens in those
Yeah.
reminders. And then there was, I'm like, I don't know what magic you guys are doing in there, but extra thank you. Because I mean, for the 10-year-old to say, do I have to go home? And
That's
I'm
pretty
like,
incredible. And I mean, you think about those caregivers and the nursing staff, everyone who's there, doctors, nurses, anyone who's in working on those floors, I can't imagine the emotional toll that can take sometimes. And yet they make sure they do everything they can for those kids, you know?
yeah, I've always said that I didn't know if I would be. I mean, I've taken care of adults, but I don't know if I could ever. I mean, of course you get power that you didn't know you had in you. I'm pretty sure that we all get blessed with that in the times of
Of
need. But I
course.
feel like I feel like with something like I just want I don't know if I could ever just purposely say, yes, I'm gonna go help kids just because I think my heart would be broken so every day for that. But I was also a preschool teacher too, so I feel like there's maybe that's where I would have gone. I don't know.
I'm going to tell you what, I mean, I think children and young people, because I think I met kids that some were probably only 3 or 4, some were 23, some were, and I think about those, young adults and young people, and God, I mean, I feel like uh, they could all teach us a few lessons on how to deal with things that are, I don't know. I just think that they deal with things a little bit. They have a little bit more strength, or I don't know. I don't know what they have, but I was like walked away very affected.
Well, no, I loved watching it, and I was like, I would have gotten in the car for 6 hours and driven myself. I think there was just a way too that the promotions that they did it, and I think how you're saying it makes so much difference is that I mean, not that every charity doesn't have its heart and soul, but I
Yes,
think
yeah,
when you are in like, and I know that you've done a few were in Florida that I think grassroots too. I think there's just that different element when it has that component to
you're
it.
right. And I think, and obviously I'm not. I would, every charity is coming from a place of wanting to help and do good. And
Hmm.
there's so many that I am very connected to, and I feel like they're family as well. But I guess my point would be like being invited for the first time, you don't know what to expect. And then to like go, oh my gosh, Eric's sisters, like, just to see how, and also like, I'll be honest, it's Paul Rudd. I he is I'm a giant fan. Jason Sudeikis, like there's people that Heidi Gardner, and was so they're these to me also people that I'm a fandom of, that couldn't have been more just
Hmm.
lovely. I'm like, I know Paul Rudd, and frankly, I was then after, and Paul Rudd, of course, he is delightful, but I go, your mom's delightful. Like, I was a little nervous of like that, oh my gosh, will it feel like this big thing? But it felt so like just a bunch of family and friends getting together to do something and this is, because they give a damn about their city and they
Yeah.
give a damn about that hospital. And it is for that hospital and it is for those kids. And like I said, like, the fact that I know that it isn't a once a year thing for them.
Hmm.
Yeah. Anyway,
Well, I was gonna say you're so the first one of the first times. Actually, I think the first time I met your parents was at a fundraiser, and it's gonna totally escape me. It was you and Kat Perkins.
By the way, Dave Peterman is my leading example of like, nothing, and nothing matters if you can't give when people ask you if you can give, and by that way it can be time, it can be money, it can
Hmm.
be whatever you get. If you can, you should, right?
Hmm.
Like, and if you can't, you can't, and that's okay too. And sometimes you can't, sometimes you can. Sometimes it's like a dollar, sometimes it's more, sometimes it's an hour, sometimes it's less. But I feel like I would say this, to anyone, like, well, if I asked you for help and you could and you didn't, well, you're a jerk. You know, if you ask someone for help and you can, then you
Yeah.
can, and you do what you can, and that can come in every tiny form. And sometimes you can say, no, I can't right now, but ask me in a week and then I can. So
Hmm.
I feel like Dave Peterman is, and my mom too, have been, my dad is always just one of those quietly generous people who wasn't born with having a lot of stuff and extra
Hmm.
time and money to give, but has worked really hard, and when he can, he can. Like, you know.
Oh yeah, no, I love them dearly. And my favorite part was literally like, "Have you gone and said hi to my parents yet?" And I'm like, because you and I remember you had to go off to go for your hosting duties, and I was just like, no, but I will. And so I go over and introduce how I knew you, and more than gracious. And then we became BFFs when we were in Franklin together,
They're adorable. Pam and Dave.
and they were my celebrities. Every time I was in Franklin, I would see your family on the street.
They're
I was with my friend. I go, there go the Petermans.
the Petermans. I love them.
You got to travel with them all. And that's like, so speaking of family in Kansas City, are your
Yeah.
aunties coming with you again?
Of course, they're coming. Of course. They will be there with bells on, and that's literally with bells on. They will probably have their cardboard cutouts of everybody. Yeah, they're going to be there. I
My
mean,
goal.
this was their Vegas. Like, that Aunt Susie coined the look resting Hallmark face, which is literally for 72 hours, my Aunt Susie's face, the minute she got to Kansas City for the Hallmark Christmas experience, was on the verge of tears, pure
Hmm.
joy, bliss, and overwhelm. So it was just this, like, and I think it was Annie, and I was resting Hallmark face, and I want to, I think that could be a hashtag t-shirt. But I mean, just pure unadulterated joy, tears, I mean everything. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I absolutely no doubt in that one. And they honestly belong in their own Hallmark. Well, your aunt has been had a cameo. One of
Yes,
your
she
aunties
did.
has had a cameo in Hall at the
Kathy's
Holly.
Kathy was on in Hall at the Holly, number two, right? Which she was the phone
Yeah.
call I made.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I think that the idea has been sort of, they should do their own red carpet coverage. The Aunt Susie and Aunt Kathy. I feel like they are the voices of Hallmark fans. And, when my Aunt Susie wore a sweater that had windows on it and she opened every window and it was a face of every cast member from Hall at the Holly, you're like, okay, give this woman a red carpet microphone. And they know everybody. Like, they
Hmm.
know, like, they're legit. Like, if Andrew walked up, or if Tyler, or if Aaron, or any of the Aarons, or any of, like, they know exactly the last movie they did. They know everything. I'm like, I haven't even had time to watch them all. How do you know everything? So they know everybody, and they are in heaven.
Oh, I need to go over and have movie night with Aunt
Are you
Kathy.
coming? Are you coming?
I am going weekend three, but I am desperately trying to come weekend one.
Okay.
I'm
I
looking for.
wanted to do weekend three. Well, I like any weekend. I wanted to do more than one, but I do a Christmas show at Walt Disney Concert Hall on December 19th. So that could have been the other weekend I could have done, but because I
Mm.
do that every year, I can't. So I was like, oh, I wanted to do more.
Well, I need you weekend three with the Wind Calls the Heart people so I can just merge all of my communities.
I know, right?
And last year we had Aaron Cahill with them, and it was Brooke Dorsey,
I love
Sarah June.
Erin Cahill. I love all
I
the Erin, and I mean, and Erin Krakow. I mean, they're all amazing. She did
Yes,
she have her baby?
she had a baby. She had a baby girl.
Okay, I have to make her some onesies. I got to get on that. Okay.
I love that's what you that's how you relax too is your craft time. I
I
love
love to
it.
craft. I love to craft. I've already made,
Um,
by the way, I'm going on a girls' trip for my birthday and for like three of my oldest friends. We're having a trip together, and I've already made gift bags. I've already, and for the new puppy that my friend Stina got, I've already made a ruby
oh,
bag that has dog treats and ball and a ball in it for her. So yeah, I craft. I craft.
I absolutely love that. Well, so what, speaking of the Hallmark community, what has been for you joining it? What is something that's influenced or changed you both personally and professionally?
Um, oh gosh. I mean, I say this to Lacey all the time. Like, I mean, I know that I had done a small part in one movie before Halt the Holly, but it wasn't. It was lovely experience, but then it was sort of that was it for a while, and I was trying to kind of break in and get into this family, and it was Lacey, and I just said to her, I said, Lacey, I that I've had a lot of great professional experiences, but that first movie was such a wonderful gift for me as we really truly had the most fun and like the connections we got from there. And I said, I didn't just get the gift of that movie and like that wonderful time. I got Ellen. I got
Mhm.
Eliza. I got Wes. I got Steven. Like I got really friends that I like. Ellen Travolta is like truly one of my, I would call her a dear friend who has
Mhm.
like who I call when I need her. And like she's so wise. She's so funny. And I'm gonna call her tonight. But she is an Eliza, who is just also somebody who there's, from different gender, like we're all different ages and we all
Mhm.
really just needed each other. And I have, this is how many years later, and I texted Eliza yesterday, and Ellen is like, just, I feel like the gifts of the people. So there is a long
Mhm.
answer. The people I've gotten from this community, whether I got to work with them or meet them, the
Mhm.
fandom itself, the people I've met through there have been really amazing. And I consider that a real big blessing as far as because the work is enjoyable and fun, and I love to work, and I feel that's where um, I just I feel like I sort of thrive in those moments, but the people are the best, like the afterwards. And I will say that it's a different community. Like I've been so lucky. Like I think about the Reba fans that have followed me from the original show and have stayed with me and been loyal. Like there's something so magical about those fans too that have their own community, whether they came from country music or they came from their
Mhm.
love of TV or sitcoms. Like I feel like every group has a little special core, but the Hallmark core, like what I love is that they have their own community that they don't really need us to be a part of sometimes. You know what I mean?
Oh, the fandoms? Yeah.
Yes, where it's like they don't need to hang out. They have created their own friendships and their own groups together, which I think, I think that happens in a lot of like people that have
Mhm.
a common interest and a common love. But it's that's very special. And I have to say the Hallmark Christmas experience is where you saw it firsthand where I was like, "Oh my gosh." It was overwhelming as far as so many the people that were, I never felt like I've seen that happen like at a Reba concert where people like scream and they are losing their mind and their fandoms. And I think about like, when a Tyler walks by and
Mhm.
everyone's like screaming, but the reality is the fans are so they're just so lovely and they just want to tell you what they loved about the movies and what it meant to them. And they just want to
Mhm.
have a genuine moment with you. They don't just want to get a picture and say they got a picture. They don't just want to like, they don't want, they really want to look at you in your eyes and say,
Mhm.
that movie, I needed to watch that movie and I watched it with my mom or my grandma. I watched it with my husband. He does watch them. But that's what I loved. And doing those meet and greet lines, and sometimes it's for you, and sometimes it's for Warren, sometimes it's for Wes or Lacey. And I
Mhm.
just love being the person that gets to hear those stories all day. Because it can be a long day and you can feel like it's exhausting, but I'm not exhausted because I feel like that those moments kind of filled up my cup because you left going like, I got to hear people say personal stories, like real moments of what it meant for them, whether it was
Mhm.
the movie or this actor or just the who they watched it with. That was, I mean, like, I remember Tamara, it was her first year last year, and she said,
Mhm.
Melissa, and she's been doing it since she was, a toddler practically in doing this
Hmm.
business. And she said, I've never experienced anything like this. And I go, I know, it's just really, it's really neat. It is.
Yeah, no, there's, I mean, that's definitely for us. We've talked a lot because for a lot of the people who are going weekend three, it's this is our third year in the row, and we go number one because we for specifically love the show, and then
Right.
it, but then it because there was a lot of talk. We're like, oh, we're year three. Like, is anybody interested in going different weekends? And a lot of it is just like, but my friends are going weekend
Yeah.
threes. So yes, absolutely, we get to talk to the When Calls the Heart, cast, hear their stories and the Hope Valley group now. And then, but then at the same time, you're like, if I don't go, I'm going to miss being able to spend a weekend laughing with the person whose room is
Yeah.
next to you. And I know,
That's part of it too, is like getting
yeah,
together at the end of the day and going, what and maybe having a glass of wine or hot chocolate or whatever you want to have and like just giggling and talking about it. Like
yeah,
that's really it's sort of like it's your annual event and that's when you're going to see your people, you know?
yeah. Well, and for me, like somebody who works from home, to reach out, I mean, I talk almost daily with one of my friends that I met through Romance University who lives in Canada. And, and it literally could be just a smile. Hey, how's it going? And I mean, that to feel like you're, even when you're still in the same room, which I think ends up being for a lot of people based on just logistics, if they can't leave, they're a little bit
And it's
elderly,
a little bit
whatever
like
it is.
summer camp too for like people who haven't
Yeah.
met because we're all staying in the
Yeah.
same hotel. We're all at the Crown at the Westin. The Crown is at the
Yeah.
Crown, which is by the way, that's where the Big Slick was too. And
Oh,
we were all there together. Everyone stayed at the same place, and it feels like summer camp. So
mm-hmm.
that's what's so lovely is like going down to get a coffee or going to the Hallmark store. I get to talk to people or see people, and I get to see people I haven't seen for a while. Like, I mean, trying to track down Lacey, that woman is working so hard. So sometimes I have to wait and see her there, and I miss her, you know. So or Wes or
Yeah.
anybody. So I don't think I'm with Wes. And also I got to meet people that I'm fans of, like that I had never met them before. So it's really fun.
Yeah, you Wes isn't your weekend this year. I'm a little sad.
I'm a little mad. I'm a little sad. He is like
I
he's like my brother. Like I mean him and Jonathan,
yeah.
like they're the kind of like people that I can do we can, I know we're gonna have a good time together. We're just gonna
Yeah.
have fun. And I don't have to explain myself. We have a shorthand. We just got it. It's good.
Well, when I met Jonathan on the cruise last year, I let him know who I was because he'd been tagged in so many posts that I'd done for the fan page. And it was like this immediate light of like, number one, thank you so much for your support. And then two, when you've got that other connection, then two, I mean, while you're seeing so many faces, there was just a way to like pause and I could see it. I mean, well, I'm sure I could just see it kind of shift a little bit where there was more of that connection that may not
Yeah.
have been there, and absolutely, actually, I want to just have I said to James, I go, where's your fan page? You need one now too.
Everyone loves James. James is amazing.
And I
I feel
just
like
love
James
the,
has plenty of fans.
oh, I love the fact that I literally like happened to be watching Baby Daddy and I was like, that guy looks familiar.
That was James. And I believe he was shirtless on Baby Daddy, as he should be. Yeah.
Oh, world.
Yeah.
um so yeah, no, my goal is to come weekend one. I will definitely keep you updated if I'm coming because I actually want to follow along with the aunties and just hang out with them too.
They should have an ant cam.
Yes.
I mean, just I want to. You know what, Catherine? I think I'm going to do this. I'm going to get just what is it?
The go camps
Oh,
or
I'm going to get a
whatever.
GoPro on Aunt Kathy and Aunt Susie, and it's going to be called the Ant Cams. And I'm going to do all. You know what? I got to get my own. I got to get an Ant Cam Instagram. I got it. Because I'm telling you, it would be hilarious. All right,
Well, I was gonna say that's my job. I'll follow them around because you'll be preoccupied, and then I'll give you all the footage afterwards, and then you can just make and
I
break
just need
whatever
you to
you want
always
to.
do the footage because it's so much. And we can like have bets, like how many times do you think Aunt Susie's gonna cry? She's probably gonna cry every time she meets somebody and tell them about what like she cried. Oh gosh, I just love it. We
Well,
have
what I
to.
love is that Aunt Susie has her own like when she told me her Hallmark connection that up for her job up in Duluth, that she's like, oh yeah, there was a Hallmark movie that I helped find the space for this
Yeah.
movie, and I was like, look at the Hallmark royalty as we go down the line of the Peterman group.
I mean, she's a connector. I mean,
Yeah.
and I think she probably, as she's trying to show them like places to rent, I think she was giving him my headshot. I'm like, thank you, Susie, but I think they cast the movie already. I don't think I'm in it. Sorry.
Connector, that is the perfect, well, you
She's
guys
a
all are, but
connector.
that's the perfect title for that woman. I love her.
She's never met a stranger. I mean, she will know you and like in a minute and go, what do you need? What do you need? Who do you need? I know somebody.
She did ask me help for Instagram, so still send her my way. So I can, oh,
She does need your help.
if you want her on Instagram, I guess.
Oh Lord. Release the Kraken. Aunt Susie on Instagram.
Oh my gosh. Well, so you of course have hosted game shows, talk shows, and charity events, and then and also been your I want to play a game with you someday so bad. We still have to have a
Okay.
game night.
We do. I'm going to be here I'll be here on and off for quite a while. So,
Oh,
well,
okay. We'll plan something for sure. So, what is your secret to creating the environment for helping others share their stories?
make him comfortable. Make and be quiet sometimes too. You know, I think even when I would host game shows and I would always make sure I would go say hello to the contestants before they were going to play because
Mhm.
sometimes they don't and you want to go, "Hi, I'm Melissa. You're going to have fun today." Like have a moment, connect with them, make them feel comfortable, make them know that we're not doing brain surgery today. We want you to shine. And I think everybody is interesting. Everybody's got a story. Everybody is funny. If you just give them a little space and a little air, they will say something really great. And so be quiet sometimes and listen. But I think making people comfortable, like making them set them up for success. Because when you're hosting something, it's not about you. It really isn't. Your job is to make sure that the person feels safe to shine and that they want to, because that's what you want to do. And I think that's my favorite thing is to make sure that they know that this is your day. This is, you're going to go
Mhm.
watch this clip, maybe, you're going to watch it with your family on the holidays. We want you to have the best time ever. And my goal for anything, whether it's coming as a guest spot on Happy's Place or on a movie set, I want everyone to walk away going, I had a great experience. So set them up for success, make them comfortable, and let them know that nothing they say can be bad. You're not going to, you can't do anything wrong today. You know what I mean? Your job is to have fun and maybe win money or just maybe have fun. I don't know. You can't do anything wrong.
I love that. I actually need to remember that myself when I'm doing this. Everybody's just like, just be, because you were one of my biggest cheerleaders when I decided to go along this venture. I actually texted you first, and
Well,
I was
good.
like, I was like, I'm gonna do this, but at the same time, I always say my Catherineisms keep me hidden a lot more than I probably want to be because I just am always afraid of saying the wrong thing, or I feel like I'm a very present person, but at the same time, you feel like did you miss something by being too present? Like I was putting all these expectations on myself that I watch my fellow friends in here, and I'm like everybody's just having a conversation, like
Well,
we're
I
all
will,
human.
Catherine, I think that we all do that. And so your friends that you think are just, oh, look at them. It looks like they're just having a conversation. They're also probably, finishing and going like, oh my gosh, did I talk too much? Did I do this? Like, it's a human thing. We do this to ourselves all the time. I just had this conversation. It's like kids are born and they are the best improvisers. They are the best. They can think outside the box because they haven't learned yet. They haven't, like we spend half of our life wanting to get back to that place of not editing ourselves, not judging ourselves, and not worrying about what people think. And yes, part of being an adult is, you can't just say anything you want, but there's something wonderful about being, you know, I do it. I'll
Mhm.
finish this and go, Melissa, what did you do? What did you say wrong? We have it's a constant reminder that we have to do it. My point is we all think that. We all think that. We are all judging ourselves and we all have to practice daily to get out of it. I feel like I get in slumps of like, I lost my spark or I was too worried about this and you gotta it's okay have that doubt, but always remember at the core. And then I have to remind myself, the only thing I know how to do is to be me. And this is who I am right now in this moment. So just be her. You know,
Okay, I'm gonna cry. Love
that's
that.
all you got to do.
You're
And what
right.
happens if what happens if you missed a question? What happens if I talk too much? Nothing. You know,
Nothing. You're right.
nothing really. I mean, there's so many other things that are bigger. And so, but again, I remind myself all the time of this. I think you should be doing more, Melissa. You should be doing this. Why didn't this happen for you? Why, and it's a awful thing. And we have to remind, I do, I truly, I think like you think about a 5-year-old who comes in and is like, oh, and they don't edit themselves
Mhm.
before, and it's that moment. I am trying to describe it in a way of an improviser. It's like when you're standing on the side of the stage and somebody is like, oh, if only we had if only that waiter would get here, and you're like, in your gut is jump in, be the waiter, just walk like, well, here I am. And then when you jump,
Mhm.
you knew it was the right thing to do. And half the time, you go, ah, I missed the moment. I didn't jump in. They literally said, and it's that moment of like just listening to that little thing in your whatever it is to
Yeah.
jump. And it's hard to do sometimes because we're like, I feel like I want to say this or I want to do this. And then you think too long and you missed it, and it's a muscle and you just got to use it a lot.
So true. I actually have to say, so the first year in Kansas City, I don't think they've seen crowds like the Hallmark crowds ever. And I think I mean they knew what to. I obviously it's a hotel that's busy all the time, but there was just something about so many thousands of people coming in and trying to eat breakfast at the same time. And we went to the restaurant, and this poor hostess, sweetest lady with the most mousiest voice, and she's calling like Pam, Pam, and she's not getting any responses, and you're seeing her kind of panic because she's got some people waiting and some people staring at her. And finally I was like, ma'am, can I help you? And she's like all of a sudden by the end I was calling out every party. I became the hostess without meaning to.
That's okay. You jumped in. You jumped
Every party, and by the end of it, it helped my weight, it helped the patients, because you're still like, oh, I'm kind of hungry and all that. It kept the mind off of that. And as soon as I sat down, whereas I thought, oh, did I overstep at some point, her first thing to me when she sat us down was, she's like, thank you so much for your help. And then I was bummed she wasn't there last year so I could get my roll back.
Well, who knows? Maybe this year.
Maybe the third year will be the charm. um, well, as somebody who is constantly making other people be seen, and you give so much of yourself, two questions. Who is the first person besides your family that's made you feel seen? And then how do you, well, I guess we kind of covered it. You take the time to just kind of decompress. But yeah, what do you do for yourself to really kind of take a moment to breathe?
I think the first person that made me feel really seen was Mr. Mraz, Tom Mraz, who was our theater director in high school at Burnsville High School. And he ran Showtime, which was, if anyone is familiar with Burnsville High School, Showtime was a big thing. And he directed me in Mousetrap, my first play. And then after the first, when I did Showtime, I will never forget it. He said to me, he's like, you can do this. And I was like, oh, yeah. And he's like, no, you can do this. You should do this. You could go wherever you want to go, LA, New York, and he's like, you have it. You have it. And, and it was the first, I mean, it made me feel like, oh, maybe I could do that. It was an adult that I was not related to, that I respected very much, who told me that he thought I was a star. That's what he said. He's like, I think he was like, you have it. You have that it thing. You just have it and you could do this. You could really do this and you should. And I was like, and it was sort of like, your high school, like, okay, yeah. And, and you just take it in and but it was huge, which is why I say, like, to anyone, you have no idea what sentence or what thing you say to somebody, which is why it's so important, like for young people to have somebody, like it's great to have support within your family and whatever, but if it's like another person that is, not related to you that sees you and says
Mhm.
something, like as awful it is that we remember every slight we've gotten or every rude thing, which we have to like again talk yours like remind yourself that those things don't matter. Like what is even more powerful than all that crap
Mhm.
stuff is a person who says something so significant to you. Like that meant everything. Like I was like, well, if Mr. Mraz thinks I could be an actor, well, maybe I could. Maybe I could move out of Minnesota after college. Wow, maybe you sort of, it just, for any kid, for any young, for
Mhm.
anybody, whether you're a kid or not, to go like, it's possible. Possibility is the biggest gift you can give anybody, is for them to think it's possible, which is, I don't know. But Mr.
Yeah,
Moraz,
I love that possibility. That's awesome. Well, let's end on some fun questions of what is your favorite rom-com
oh,
or top five?
I mean, are we going to talk in Hallmark world? Are we
Oh no,
talking,
all worlds.
okay, well, Sleepless in Seattle,
Okay.
I think is a classic.
Hmm.
When Harry Met Sally. Oh my God, I just aged myself so much. Like when Harry Met Sally. Oh gosh. Oh, oh, I love Peter's new one, Love Heist. I thought
Oh,
that
wasn't that
was,
so fun?
wasn't it fun? I
Fun.
love that one. I love that one very, very much. Um, let's see, rom-com. I mean, I always feel like I think the genre is like so huge.
Right.
Um, does Tootsie count? No, I'm trying going back to all like these
You
old
know
classic
what? I think
movies.
somebody asked me that at one time. I was like, I'll allow it. But you know what? I'm going to say what I think. I'm not going to speak for you, but one of my favorite things that you did during the pandemic was you and John recreated 16 Candles.
16 Candles. I love 16 Candles, although there's some things that are, I think in today's world, so there's some problematic,
Yeah.
there's a few problematic things where you're like, wow, huh, that would have ran. But that was still a classic for me. 16 Candles. That was like one of my favorites. But Tootsie, I feel like there is a love story there. And,
Hmm.
I think about like, when I think about what's the Lacey trilogy one with the girlfriends, the
Oh,
wedding
the wedding
bell, like
veils.
I love that because I like that kind of stuff. I think about that's also like the traveling pants, sort of the idea of
Hmm.
when we get to know characters and we see them, which is why I think, the Hardys, like that's the longest running show on
Hmm.
Hallmark forever. Like I think we get invested in characters. Like, but I love a good rom-com. And I feel like I mean, I can watch them all day. That's why I feel like I digest them and it's almost like you eat them. I eat so much of them that I almost forget sometimes what I just watched, which I find
Well,
happens a lot as I get older. But I
well, I was
love,
gonna.
sorry, go
Sorry.
keep going.
Oh no, I was gonna say what I just love is what you're saying is that they number
I
one,
love the Greek one. I love Nikki's last one too.
okay, I told her that line that she said before she went into the courthouse, it's my little Greek wedding or whatever, not the opposite. I said, I haven't rolled on the floor that long in a long time. And that's what I am so thankful with Hallmark. Well, just in
Grand
general,
Opry
too.
Chris, I love that one too. And I love it.
Oh,
Liza and Sharon in it. So I mean, I love that's the thing about we get a lot of content from Hallmark. So I'm like trying to remember, like I just like,
yeah.
when I think about my aunts who like I go, I haven't even caught up yet. Um, but yeah, I love it when I guess as you know me, I love it when the female lead or I just like it when I like my rom-com with a little bit of humor in it because I think funny, because I love that mix between what will make you laugh and will really get you
Mhm.
in the feels. I love
Mhm.
that line, and I think that to me is a sweet spot. So when you're about to, because by the way, falling in love, it's funny sometimes. It's laughable, the things that you go through. And I love a character. I like a leading man. I like a little spark. I like a little twinkle. I like a little humor. And again, let's be clear. We all like a guy that's or somebody, a lead, or we like people that are, yeah, they're fun to look at, but that's not always the most important to me. Like I think the first person, yes, it was Indiana Jones, but John Candy. I
Oh,
fell in love with John Candy because it was like he was a leading man to me. Like there was that
mhm.
humor. Uncle Buck, I would have married Uncle Buck in a heartbeat. He loved those kids. He was a good
Yeah.
man. He was funny. Like, I mean, so I like when, and I think Hallmark has been so great of like, leaning into some of like the giving those leading man, giving them like a little oomph, a little twinkle. I
Hmm.
like that. I love that.
Well, we've been saying from the get-go with like, especially like for Kevin McGarry, as you know, huge fan,
I know.
that, you know,
That's
that
your
that
guy.
man, that man is comedic, you know, gold. And I'm like,
Paul
why don't we
Campbell is
have,
hilarious too, by the
yes,
way. And you know me, I like a funny guy. So if a guy makes me laugh, they can, I mean, these guys happen to also be gorgeous, but like, I don't, funny guys are it for me because you know what? Let's be clear. We, all of us, we're gonna age. We might
yeah.
get bald. Things change, but if they make you laugh and they got a twinkle in your eye, that is forever. So a funny guy. And Paul Campbell, by the way, Andrew's hilarious too. That's the fun thing.
Hmm.
I like they're you to me. That's the complete package. And I have, that is what I've been delighted too, is like getting to hang out with them and getting to work with Paul for the first time. Like how funny they are. Like they're not
Yeah.
just these beautiful guys or like, everyone there's humor. And to me, any of the movies that have a little bit of that humor, um, that's what gets me, you know?
So for your latest one with Paul, I'm curious how much did they allow you to ad lib? Because those conversations when he comes into the room and all you ladies are sitting around the table, pure gold.
They, you know what, they were really great about letting us, they let us play around with that for a little. And that one was really fun to play around. And when the camera was turned on Paul and it wasn't on me anymore, and I mean, I was trying really hard to get him to
Yeah.
break, just like, oh, like they let us. I wish, though, I really do. I want Hallmark. We've talked about this. I want an outtakes. I want a good old fashioned like Dick Clark blooper show because even in the most romantic of things or the most serious of movies in Hallmark, these you know this. You've met you know half of the actors in it. They are funny and
Yeah.
bloopers. People, we love our bloopers. I want to.
Yes.
I want to host
I
I want to host a blooper show for Hallmark. That's what I want.
Yes, please. I mean, I was, yes, you can be our Dick Clark with the blooper show
I'll
that
do
was
the
weekly.
wraparounds. We'll do it. It'd be great.
I mean, you know how it is. Every time at our meetings, you know, fan club meetings, I give you a whole list of here's my honey-do list. You know, like I
Yes.
don't know who we ask, but I think and I will say for All's Fair in Love and Mahjong, that was seriously my favorite. I do really enjoy Paul, but there was something about that character, and I think that, and I've mentioned it to many people, and I did a review with Cat Chat Podcast. I was like, that's probably my favorite Paul role I've ever seen, and to keep getting better and finding different people and different elements of people that we're getting to explore
Yeah.
that in these movies. Thank you, Hallmark, and our
Fun to
writers and
see these. It's
directors.
fun to see people in different in just different ways and highlight
Yeah,
the different aspects about them because no one's one dimensional, you know. Everyone's
right.
got different sides of them, which is why I like as much as I say I love the funny, I'm like I like those dramatic stuff too. I want to lean into that as well because I think um I want to do that. I do. I really would like to show that side of me as well, you know, that and or
Mhm.
the softer side, which, you know, I don't know if people know, I'm a really easy cry. And you know, I feel things deeply. I don't love to do it in front of people. But and we've all like you said, everyone's got a story. I've experienced like loss and grief and things that are hard and like we as everyone has like I said everyone has a story and so I would like to like lean into some of those heavier things sometimes because I think we have to we want to see our own stories reflected in that and also I find that when you can laugh sometimes in those situations. Like I love those scenes, like that Steel Magnolia scene where it's like this heart-wrenching and Sally
Mhm.
Field is giving this, and then all of a sudden it's like, here, hit Weezer. You know, like it's like those moments where you have this gigantic emotional and then that humor like cuts it. Like I live for those things. And to me, that's what life is. Like, because in the midst of some of the most darkest times of my life, like where you know things are sad and then someone says something that is sometimes maybe inappropriate, but it is the laugh in the midst of despair that or loss or heartbreak or anything that I just think those are the realest for people, you know?
Oh, 1000%. I mean, you hear stories so much lately. It seems like people will be like a mishap at a funeral where somebody's alarm will go off, and then you're like, that was Uncle Joe just sending us a
Yeah.
message, you know. And I think that, and Yeah, that's something that I used like for me, I think especially in situations like those, we think that they have to be so rigid, but it's about the personality of the person. That's why we're celebrating. That's why I love the word celebration of life versus, others, because that's why we're together and why they meant so much to us and why, we're, otherwise it could sadly be something that, gets lost in translation. So,
I
yeah.
think, go ahead.
I was really worried for dads, to be honest, that we had it a month later. And I was just like, well, people have forgotten about him. And obviously not, I worried for no reason. But there was just something where it's just like, because it wasn't in that time where you usually have to immediately have it to kind of put that closure. And there is no closure with
There's no
loss.
closure. And I don't know
No,
if you do you know have you seen the movie Coco, the Disney,
no, no, I haven't.
which is I believe it's I think it's on the uh
Disney Plus?
well you yes, or you can probably find it anywhere, but it's based on, I believe it's a Mexican tradition of like, and when you think of the Day of the Dead and like that, but
Mm,
they talk about, I mean, I watched it in a moment in my life where I was in a big loss. Um, and they say like you have three deaths. It's like your death and then your funeral, and then when people stop talking about you or saying your name,
mhm.
which just will get me in a million times, which is why it's like say Roger's name. Like that,
Yeah.
no, he's never like that's like, and that just got me. Like I say Diana, friend of, like my friend who I lost, or people
Mhm.
that we've lost in our lives. I think it's important to like say their names out loud. And I think sometimes that when people know that they're experiencing grief, that they're like, you don't want to say it. It's like, no, talk about them and say, you know what I loved about Roger? You know what I loved about Di? Or Di would have loved this. Like, or, it's,
Mhm.
I think that that really hit me is like, yeah, because it's not a process, it's not a timeline. And I think it's really important to talk about, like I talk about, my father-in-law, Wally. We say Wally's name, like talk
Mhm.
about, because that really is, that to me, really, that is the third, that's the last one when no one's
Yeah.
saying your name. So it's important to talk about them to like to the next people so they don't forget. You're never, they're there, but I don't know. That was a big old long thing. But watch that movie. It's so
No.
beautiful because you're like, you're like, don't be afraid to say the names of the people that you miss because
Yeah.
it helps keep them alive in this world. They're there. They're up there. They're
Right.
following. I know that their angels are here and they're I know they're still with me, but I
Yeah.
believe that saying words have power and their stories mean something. And I think it's really important to say the names out loud and not be afraid to say them because I do think people get weird about grief and loss and they don't want to say, they feel like they're, oh, I don't want to mention it. It's like, mention it, say it. How are you
Yeah.
doing? It was your first Father's Day without your dad, or not your
Hmm.
first, but it was a Father's Day without your dad.
Yeah.
And,
And you messaged me and I so appreciated that. Yeah. You reached
it's,
out and I had other friends reach out and then that weekend I had just seen some family that I hadn't seen in a long time who for the first time I think they felt comfortable enough to say his name and how much of an impact he had on them that made me appreciate things that I didn't know about him.
because how are you
And
going to know? Because
yeah.
everyone knows him
Right.
in a different way.
Yeah.
You go to that's sometimes what I think is why as humans we sometimes need these ceremonies as ways to say goodbye or to celebrate, whether it's graduation, birthdays, funerals, weddings, whatever we have. It's because we need these little rituals sometimes. But the important thing is I remember John's dad when he died, which was like 5 days before our wedding on John's birthday. Like so much
Mhm.
stuff. But there were stories about Wally that we didn't know. And you want to hear what other people saw, of someone you love, because they had whole other lives,
Yeah.
He had a whole other
Yeah.
personalities and people. And I don't know.
Well,
That's a
there's some more things for us to share with Hallmark on ways to make extra connections. Like I always think of movie ideas and how we can
how do we
combine.
sell like a movie idea about around grief and like a funeral movie? Like I
Well,
think
we
there's
I
something
don't
there.
know.
I do. But by the way, I think that sometimes the biggest moments in your life are also in the darkest ones. Like, you have moments of celebration in the midst of sometimes some of the biggest losses in your life. And I think there's something, I don't know. There's something to
Uh,
explore there.
I got it, Melissa. If there's a Hallmark card for it, there should be a Hallmark movie for it.
Right. And we have cards for this.
There we go.
I'll bring you into the pitch meeting.
All
And
right,
I'll
I'm
tell you what
there.
I also loved. I mean, as far as like, I think there's also love stories between f friendships,
Hmm.
as far as like the loves of your life. It's not just your romantic partner. It is also the people in your life. Like I think about this girls' trip I'm going on tomorrow. I've known one of them since I was 19, one since I
Hmm.
was 23. And to finally have time in our lives to all do something together, that's
Hmm.
these are love stories in my life. There's the loves of my life too. We all have girlfriends. We have our guy friends, our romantic partners. Like the loves of your lives come in a lot of different ways. And I think telling those stories in the midst of maybe a romantic story is really appealing to me too. You know?
So, in that conversation that I had with my friend last week, that was the direction we were supposed to go. And I got stuck on one part for myself. So, it ended up being
Well, we
very
hit it. We hit it
irritating.
today.
But yes, that's exactly it. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for spending this time with me.
And as always, thank you for just being awesome and great.